Hi, and a very warm welcome to a wonderful, fresh new week of wellbeing opportunities. It's been raining quite heavily here, storms and thunder, but it's going to get brighter today, and I'm delighted whenever you can join me. So let's talk about a subject that's prompted quite a few comments from you over the past week, and that's how we deal with fear. Why is this important? Well, let me explain. In the first place, we all have problems and difficulties and challenges that raise our levels of anxiety. And as we've discussed in previous videos, when the fear response is triggered, it tends to close off a lot of our perception. It crimps our creativity. It makes it much harder for us to see the full picture, get the details, the facts, the information on which we can make a good decision about how to deal with the problem. That applies particularly to our personal lives, the way we're dealing with family and work and the challenges we face on a daily basis. When we look at the news and we see what's happening in the world, whether we're talking about natural disasters or problems caused by our fellow human beings, you might argue that it's completely natural for us to feel threatened and to experience a heightened level of fear and anxiety. Well, as we mentioned before, our distant ancestors evolved with a set of fear responses to help them survive a potentially deadly encounter with a predator. We have those same responses. 50, 60,000 years later, we still have those triggers built into our brains that produce very, very strong reactions when we are threatened with danger or when we imagine that we're threatened with danger, because our bodies can't tell the difference. If we imagine that the problem is perhaps more serious than it really is, we're going to get the full-blooded fear response. Now, you can't squash your fear into a little box, pop it in a corner of your mind and pretend it doesn't exist. And we don't need to, because you and I, human beings, we've evolved some very, very powerful techniques for turning off the fear response. Let's just remind ourselves that your anxiety levels, your fear, they were only supposed to last for 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes, whereas most of us are experiencing fear 24 hours a day. The way that our ancestors would switch off the fear is very, very simple. We know that they release their shoulders. Stress, calm. Anxiety, tunnel vision. A more rational approach that sees all the relevant information helps us to make better decisions about how to deal with the challenges. And sometimes, let me remind you, there's nothing we can do about a challenge. Therefore, the stress and tension is unnecessary. It's redundant. Relax the shoulders, release the tension in your jaw. Take a deep breath. Hold the breath for a couple of heartbeats, breathe out. And this simple combination turns off the stress response in our brains, and it opens up what we call higher brain functioning to help us to see things more clearly. Now, the fact is, we do live in quite a scary world. I look around me and see the beauty of nature. I've got squirrels running up and down the trees, actually running in front of me at the moment. And it is a truly extraordinarily beautiful planet. Our perception is fully capable of appreciating the wonder of the world. We might not make the best decisions, we do very, very foolish things in this world, but I want you to learn how to recognize that the stress response should not be operating 24 hours a day. And with these simple techniques, instead of feeling your blood pressure rising and getting very anxious and stressing, what is wrong with the world? Let's calm it down, let's tone it down and see things more clearly, because this is very important for your health, for your well-being, but also how your brain functions. Because if you're facing any kind of a challenge, we need to have a calm, clear, objective set of analyses in order to understand what's going on, if we can do something about it, and what we can do about it. I think this will lead us to make probably better decisions. We're not driven by strong negative emotional drives for survival. We can see things more clearly, and perhaps each of us can make a little contribution to making the world a better place for everyone to share. There are more than enough resources in this world for everyone. If we think about how we can work with the planet, work with each other, we know that we can make everything work more efficiently, more fairly, and create a better world in which we can all participate. I would love to get your feedback on this. Sometimes when we talk about the issues that affect the world, I get very, very strong reactions, and that's fine. It's good to get these things out in the open and discuss them clearly. But I would love you to be able to use that little switch when you're anxious, afraid, and worried. Turn down the fear. Get a better impression of what's really going on. It'll make a massive difference to your life. I want to thank you once again for joining me. I'm going to get changed, start the day, and look forward to being with you again very soon. Have a wonderful week.